Over 270 cars made their way into the pit area here at Lucas Oil Speedway. All the kids enjoying a lot to do around the diamond and dirt tracks, including the go-kart track back behind us. Some of the best drivers in the USRA got to try their hand at that go-kart track, and now the best drivers across the Midwest in the modified class will make their way out. A handful of USMTS cars and stars here as well. Let's get the field set for you as they will run 50 laps in their main event. On the pole out of Hayesville, Kansas, he currently sits number 3 in the USRA national point standings. Tyler Davis will shoot him off from the inside of row number 1. In the middle, it's Tyler Wolf, who won back here on Thursday. And to the outside, Brandon Givens from Wichita, Kansas. He will start outside row 1.
Row 2 to the inside out of Hayfield, Minnesota, the 50 to the 3rd. That's Brandon Davis. In the middle from Albert Lee, Minnesota, the 98S is Kevin Stoa at his outside. From El Paso, Texas, it's the Carlos Amado Jr. in the 65X.
In row number 3 to the inside, a 4-time USMTS champion out of Happy, Texas. Rodney Sanders will start in 7th. Jake Tim won 4 times on the USMTS circuit. He starts in the middle, and Terry Phillips on his outside. He's out of Springfield.
Claremont, Minnesota's Kylie Kath will fire off on the inside of row number 4. In the middle, from Urbana, Missouri, it's the 1X of Dylan McCowan. Into the outside from Lebo, Kansas, the 7G is Gabe Hodges.
The champ at Arrowhead Speedway this year from Westville, Oklahoma, Trevor Hughes starts inside row number 5. Chad Clancy will be to his outside. And then Jason Pursley, he will pilot the number 15 from Hermitage. He will start outside row 5.
The Iceman, Alex Williamson from Rushford, Minnesota, fires off on the inside of row number 6. To his outside, it's the A-Train, Al Haynen, out of Clear Lake, Iowa. And the outside of row number 6 from Lee Center, Minnesota. The 97 is Cole Anderson.
From 19th on back, these were the drivers that had to work their way through the alphabet soup. Nick Benninger, Ryan Middon, Jeff Cutshaw back in row 7.
Row 8 belongs to Peyton Phillips, Tyler Worley, and Shad Batter.
Ben Nading will start inside row number 9. Dustin Brown smack dab in the middle. And Greenwood, Arkansas's Jason Payton will start in 27th.
Row 10 sees Lyle Sadoff fire off on the inside. Tyler Grooms and Houston Johnson to his outside.
The two buys that were given as the field is set back in row number 11. The 31, or starting in 31th, it's Sam Osman in the 88. And number 9 is Kenton Allen out of Chinook, Kansas, running for Rookie of the Year in the modified class.
50 times around for the ground pounders of the USRA modified division. Tyler Davis, your defending USRA national champion, fittingly on the pole, leads the field to green. Green flag in the air, your USRA modifieds are underway. Tyler Davis, your early leader off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Friend and business partner Brandon Givens to his outside. Look at Givens. He won his first day feature event last night. He leads lap number 1.
Won his first day main, and very interesting on how this developed as the week went along. You go all the way back to Wednesday. That was the first night of preliminary races. Tyler Wolf locked his way in. The way it was set up, if you qualified on Wednesday, won or came home in second, you started on the inside row. Same thing for Thursday. You would start in the middle. If you won on Friday, you would start on the outside row. Where Tyler Wolf, who sits back in 5th right now, in that blue number 4, he qualified on Wednesday. He elected to not take that spot, run again on another night, didn't want to start on the inside. So that moved Brandon Givens up into that spot. He became locked in on Wednesday. Tyler Wolf then qualified on Thursday. He starts in the middle. Givens was given the opportunity. You can either take it and not run anymore, or you can continue to go ahead and run throughout the week. He decided to go ahead and run. What happens? Friday comes around. He wins the feature, goes to the golf cart track, wins over there. That puts him front row outside. Couldn't have been any better for Givens.
And to add to the storyline, Tyler Davis in the 65, Brandon Givens in the 10B, both out of the Wichita, Kansas area. They both work in the same building every single day. Tyler Davis now chasing his friend Brandon Givens in the 10B for victory here tonight.
Little song Disney put out. It's a small world after all, isn't it?
Speaking of small world, after all, a couple of Northerners doing battle over third and fourth. Brandon Davis, left front way up in the air. He's trying to take third away from the engine builder, Kevin Stoa. Stoa, an emotional victory earlier this week for him as well. Back into fourth.
So Tyler Davis runs in second. You mentioned the battle for third, fourth, and fifth right now is Brandon Davis on the high side in that 50. Rides along in third right now. Davis out of Hayfield, Minnesota. Number one in the USRA point standings, an 11-time winner. Won at Mississippi Thunder a couple of times, won 4 times at Deer Creek, and claimed the championship at Deer Creek this season.
Keep your eyes on the battle for the lead. The gap starting to shrink. Tyler Davis coming to life in the second spot. They've got Brandon Davis in tow as well. Field works their way off of turn 4. Givens still out front by 3 car lengths as the caution flag waves.
Caution comes out for Trevor Hughes in the 712. Started his rookie campaign last year, son of Jason Hughes, who makes those Hughes chassis. So spin comes out for him. The Hobby Time Motorsports safety crew will go out, give him a friendly nudge if he needs it, but he is good to go, back underway under his own power. So a spin for Trevor Hughes in the 712.
So Trevor Hughes will rejoin the tail of the field after he gets the 712 pointed back in the right direction. Of course, the number font on that car, very familiar. A lot of times I have to remind myself that that is Trevor, not Jason. It's easy to get those names mixed up. But Trevor Hughes, a very impressive last couple of years for him as well. Hasn't raced but a handful of years, jumped pretty much basically immediately into the modifieds, as would be expected when you're the son of Jason Hughes. But it's been a quick learning curve, and Trevor right now in the thick of the national title hunt just a few years into his modified career.
Yeah, started his racing career back in 2021, straight into a modified, and then as you mentioned, a very short time after, the following year, ran his first ever USMTS race here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Became the champion at Arrowhead this season, won 4 times last year, has won 12 total times this season, and he is top 5 in the USRA national standings.
So Trevor Hughes, good pedigree for that driver. He's going to have to refire from the tail of the field. We'll have a long way to go. And, you know, a kind of a surprising start to this race for the 4W of Tyler Wolf. Wolf, he's a guy who showed tremendous speed all year long, showed tremendous speed earlier this week, and immediately drops off of the back, off of that front row right now, running just outside of the top 5. So it's not like he's dropped anchor to the back of the field, but still not something you expect to see out of Tyler Wolf.
No, you expect him, especially here at Lucas Oil Speedway, to run up front. At one point in time, he had nearly a 50-50 chance to win every time he came out. He actually had the numbers known. He shared that to us whenever he first came out, and he literally was a 50% guy. Now, that number has dropped off over recent years, so last handful of seasons has not been fantastic for Tyler Wolf. Now, he did tell us yesterday that he went deer hunting. We saw all the garb that he had and said he shot 5 deer. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not.
He said 5. I kind of agree there, but it was interesting to see somebody in a bunch of hunting gear and a fluorescent orange cap driving go-karts here at the Lucas Oil Speedway.
It was that cold. You needed to wear that stuff yesterday. It was quite frigid.
No doubt. As Brandon Davis has led the, Brandon Givens, excuse me. A couple of Davises behind him. I'm getting names mixed up now. Brandon Givens, rather, has led the opening 8 laps, 42 laps to go. And Davis was starting to reel in his friend Givens right before that caution flag flew. Another Davis going to factor into this one. Look at the outside of that second double file row. Jake Tim, 20th to 2nd last night, or excuse me, 2 nights ago. Keep an eye on that 49.
8 laps down, 42 laps left. Green flag back in the air, and Givens will go after it. You see at the top of your screen, 3 cars all get involved on that restart. Sam Osman part of it, Jeff Cutshaw in it as well. And the 6 of Jason Paydirt out of Greenwood, Arkansas, in that 3-car mess whenever they got the field back underway. So another quick caution will come out. Shouldn't take too long to get everybody lined back out where they need to go.
And that was a really good restart for Brandon Givens, unfortunately, had got away from your leaders into turns 1 and 2 by about 3 car lengths. And a lot of times when you're that driver out front, you never know what kind of a gap you have, but certainly when a restart feels good, you kind of know it, and that would have been a good one for Brandon Givens to reestablish his line and be able to try to run away from your leaders.
You already had Jeff Cutshaw sideways in that. Osman and Jason Payton looked like they were just trying to spin to avoid contact with Jeff Cutshaw's number 98, but nonetheless, they all stop on the track.
You know, Shane, kind of a random question out of left field. I know you guys have talked about some of the things you like to eat around the racetracks. Have you ever tried any of Givens' Chunky Piddle cookies?
Yes, okay. I have.
Just have to throw that out there.
Yep. I have indeed, and they are fantastic. I love every time the Cookie Monster comes to Wheatland. Someone usually picks one up and brings them up here to the press box with us. Givens gets us back underway. This time we're green and clean through turns 1 and 2. Brandon Davis to the high side. Tyler Davis did have the advantage over Brandon on that last restart, but Brandon's going to leapfrog him and jump up to second. You know, you wonder if the experience that a lot of these USMTS guys have with a 50-lap race may play into this. Whenever you look at these USRA guys on a weekly basis, you usually run 20-lap features, maybe 25, push it at 30. Whole different story whenever you double your race length. You're going to lay a lot of rubber down. These tires are going to start to get eaten away at. A lot of times you see those drivers that have the experience of longer races like this as the race continues on really start to march to the front.
Yeah, and you saw a change for the lead there. You talk about one of those USMTS type drivers. Brandon Davis, not a full-timer on the tour, but he certainly fits the bill with multiple USMTS victories. Collected one earlier this year, and he's a driver that's no stranger to these long 50-lap distances where some of the other drivers in the field absolutely probably not something that plays into their hand.
Tyler Davis was last year's USRA National Champion. He won it in 2022. Dustin Sorensen the year before that. Lucas Schott won it in 2020. As far as the Nationals are concerned, the 2 times that it's been here, Dustin Sorensen had a clean sweep back in 2021, and Tyler Wolff did nearly the same thing last year as he was just dominant whenever he came to Lucas Oil Speedway. Hasn't quite been his day today, though, as he is currently sitting back in 6th.
So Davis continues to lead the other Davis. That's Tyler in 2nd. Brandon Givens back to the 3rd spot. Givens and Tyler switching lines at either end of the speedway. Givens way up top now. He had been running through the middle of the racetrack. That's how Brandon and Tyler both got by him. Now he's trying to switch up his line and search for some speed behind him. Terry Phillips and Jake Tim trying to do battle with each other. Phillips in 4th.
Yeah, TP has jumped up to 4th right now, and TP is about as cool, calm, and collected as it gets. You go down and talk to him in the pits, just a really mild-mannered guy, but whenever he puts the helmet on, it's all business. And obviously, 2 races ago, he thought he saw his bloodline B-Mod go into victory lane. It did not happen after J.C. Morton got disqualified, and now TP having a great run in the top 5. Wonder if that's set in his mind at all of, dadgummit, by B-Mod. I thought it was going to make it to victory lane, and it didn't. And now the Boone's Barbecue caution will come out, and it is for the 15 this time. The Iceman, Alex Williamson from Rushford, Minnesota, winner at Mason City, goes up on the top side of turn 4, slaps the wall, and that'll bring out the caution. We rattle off a handful more laps. 16 have now been collected as a right front tire looks like it's flat, maybe?
Now, rear end knocked out of that thing.
Gotcha.
That's a broken J-bar on the 15W. I looked up out of the corner of my eye and saw Williamson not just slap the wall. I would phrase that he hammered it.
A little difference between a slap and a hammer. I'll agree with you on that. Nonetheless, as we roll through, Tyler Davis and Brandon Davis putting on a 2-car show up front. Terry Phillips is now up into the mix as we roll on here at Lucas Oil Speedway Nationals night, the final night for 2023. Brandon Davis leads. Tyler Davis and Terry Phillips, as well as Givens. Givens sits outside row number 2. To the inside, it's Tyler Davis. 16 down, 34 laps left. Caution lights have been turned off. Green flag in the hand and about ready to let the ponies run again as Brandon Davis slow down the backstretch. The view from high atop over in turn number 3, and now you see him come down the front stretch, and Brandon Davis back under power. Givens to the inside.
Good restart for Brandon Givens, challenging Davis down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Tyler Davis back to the 3rd spot. Phillips in 4th, tiptoeing around the bottom of the speedway off of turn 4. Brandon Davis pulling away. Battle for 2nd resumes between Tyler and Brandon.
Tyler to the inside, Brandon to the outside. See Givens nearly scraped the wall as he exits turn 2, gets right up along the outside retaining wall down the back chute. Terry Phillips continues to turn really good laps to the inside.
You saw Terry Phillips in victory lane earlier tonight with J.C. Morton before his disqualification came down. Phillips, the builder of the Bloodline race cars, he just passed his chassis teammate Brandon Givens. Givens in a new Bloodline chassis as well. So Phillips and the Bloodline race cars having a fairly good week. Albeit the disqualification, that hurts, but nevertheless, Phillips trying to make that a little bit better here as he's riding 3rd and has reeled in the 65 of Tyler Davis.
So whenever I asked him about the B-Mod, I asked him if he's been turning a lot of them out. He said, no, not really. We started out with 1. We gave it to a guy down in Oklahoma, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, over in Muskogee. So that was the first one. The second one was actually one that Dylan McCowan had as a modified. Got it back, tweaked it, made it into a B-Mod. That is what J.C. Morton drives now, and those are the only 2 B-Mods that he's put together in the Bloodline. But he said, you know, I keep getting phone calls more and more trying to get me to build more of those B-Mods, and I can completely understand why. You see the happy Texas native and Rodney Sanders up on the top side, 4-time USMTS national champion. He is starting to march to the front.
Rodney Sanders, a driver we hadn't talked about as of yet this evening, but he just rolled his way into the top 5 right to the outside of Givens in the 10B. Givens under attack again, this time from the 4W of Tyler Wolf. Wolf following Sanders at the top side of the speedway. Givens trying to work the bottom. They're down the front straightaway, back into 1 and 2.
Sanders, we mentioned, the 4-time USMTS national champion, also won the King of America in 14. Was 2nd in the MLRA back in 2017.
A little bit in front of them. A good battle right now between Terry Phillips and Jake Tim. Tim to the inside in car 49. Again, we mentioned it earlier. He went 20th to 2nd a couple of nights ago using the bottom side of the speedway. Tim will take over that spot from Terry Phillips. And we're watching on screen now. A good battle there as Tim takes it over.
Jake Tim runs a late model as well, ran some World of Outlaw races, some Lucas Oil late model races, got his first victory in March, and then I don't want to say took a couple of months off, but didn't find victory lane again for a couple of months. Now, part of that was due to weather. This was just a nasty spring for the late models in the Touring Series. They had a ton of rainouts, so Jake Tim didn't get to participate a lot, but late model's extremely sensitive. I think he likes the modified program. He likes running both, to be honest with you, but I think he's really found a lot more success in this modified, including 4 victories in the USMTS.
So Tim, still working the bottom side of the speedway, has managed to creep up on the backside of the 65 of Tyler Davis. That's quickly going to become a battle for the runner-up spot. Tyler will drop it down to the bottom side of turns 3 and 4 in front of the 49 of Tim. Sweeps out to the top side of the exit of the corner, while Tim, good run down the front straightaway. He'll take 2nd at the line using the bottom part of the racetrack inside of Lyle Sadoff.
Good battle between those cars. Terry Phillips has now dropped off the pace a little bit compared to what he had.
Terry Phillips continues to ride in the 4 spot. Rodney Sanders in at 5th. Tyler Wolf 6th. Kevin Stoa Gabe Hodges and Brandon Givens all running right together. Those three down the back straightaway. Givens to the outside of the 7G of Gabriel Hodges as Hodges takes over that spot. So unfortunately, Givens back to about 9th, continues to slide after starting on the front row. Nevertheless, a good week for the 10B.
That's who I was up looking for. His transponder not working, so I'm not seeing on timing and scoring, but for the Cookie Monster as a spin. And again, this is Hughes for the second time. The 712's parked over in turn 2. Involved in a multiple car situation the first time. This seems to be a solo car spin, as we are well past the halfway point, 31 laps down. Brandon Davis had a 1.3 second lead, but Jake Tim is charging all the way up to second from 20th in the preliminary race. Can he grab one more spot and pick up the victory in Wheatland? Jake Tim trails Brandon Davis, and Tyler Davis back in third.
Keep an eye on the 49 on this restart, doing the same thing he did a couple of nights ago, just keeping that car nice and smooth around the bottom of the speedway. Doesn't even let it swing out to the top part of the straightaway. Actually, he's trying to keep that car in the brown. Even down the straightaway, he's not utilizing the top part of the racetrack, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, as he was extremely fast 2 nights ago. In fact, started 20th, within 3 laps was already battling for a spot inside the top 5 the other night. Competition a little bit stiffer at the front of the field here tonight. Nevertheless, the 49 is on the move.
He was not here on Wednesday, showed up on Thursday, so he missed the first night of preliminary races. Around 60 or so career wins for Jake Tim. He chooses to go to the inside. That puts Tyler Davis to the outside. Contact from row 3 and row 4 on the inside on back. They all get log jammed up on the restart. And Jake Tim, he's going to lose a spot as well, as another 3-car incident, and that includes Terry Phillips, who is running top 5. So TP in the 75 stopped over in turn 2.
Kylie Kath and the 66 of Tyler Worley all involved as well. Kath had been running in the 10th spot, Worley just outside the top 10. When you factor in the non-working transponder of the 10B of Givens, who's running right around that area as well.
Kylie Kath, 6 championships in his illustrious career. Won a B-Mod, a Midwest Mod, and a Pure Stock championship at Chateau. Also championships at Dodge County.
FK Rodden's instant replay for those of you watching at home on racingdirt.com. Looks like Phillips was one of the ones that first made contact on that restart. They roll into turns 1 and 2. And just losing the handle on the race car, Kath comes in with nowhere to go. Kath almost got on his lid. Worley the same thing, nowhere to go, just hammered into that accident as well.
So another look as TP got little help from behind. And another peek at what had happened. And there was contact in turn 4 coming to the green, and then lots of contact over in turn 2. So Terry Phillips was having a good run up in the top 5, but the run comes to an end. Looks like Terry's looking for somebody.
Think he's going to invite him to Thanksgiving Day dinner?
Well, he told him he was number 1.
Well, at least he's rooting for somebody.
That's a long walk back to the pit, isn't it?
Very, very long, lonely walk for the 75 of Terry Phillips. Field comes back by. Looks like he's checking over his left shoulder. And he may or may not turn around and have some more to say. We don't know. Let's see. Yeah, he's looking. He's staring at somebody. Can't quite tell who it was from that point of view. Oh, Tommy Boy. Crew member for Terry Phillips. Him and Phillips discussing what happened. Tommy Boy definitely upset as well. So it appears both of them may agree as to what happened. And now they're both going to walk back out to the edge of the racetrack.
After the caution, stacked and packed behind your race leader and Brandon Davis. Jake Tim did not get a great restart at the drop of the last green, and now he'll get a much better one. To the inside he goes. 3 cars duking it out for the top spot. Brandon Davis to the outside. Jake Tim down to the inside.
Look at the 49 rocket down the back straightaway in that moisture, just like he was launched out of corner number 2, takes over the second spot. And if I'm a betting man, Jake Tim going to challenge for the lead off of turn 2 this time.
I think that's a safe bet. You were going after the low-hanging fruit on that gamble.
Always play the odds in your favor.
Brandon Davis nearly kissed the outside wall as he exited turn 4.
Davis doing a good job of holding the 49 of Tim off as Tim continues to make sure he keeps all 4 tires in the moisture at the corner exit of each corner down the straightaway. You see it there on your screen. He doesn't quite come all the way out to the wall. Trying to find any bit of brown moisture he can on the racetrack, especially down the back straightaway. But Davis, tough on the top part of the racetrack. It's a good battle for the lead as we are coming to 35 down, 15 to go.
No, racers are creatures of habit. We talked about the go-kart race that determined the first 8 rows, 9 rows, whatever it was, first 6 rows, that is, after they qualified in their preliminary race. They raced on go-karts. They had put down water and soap on the go-kart track. These modified drivers, I paid attention as they were running. They started to get way outside where the soap was. I mean, they were almost making a U-turn as they were going into turn 1, just trying to find every bit of dry concrete they could. Even during a go-kart race, they're that competitive.
Looking for every little advantage they can get. Right now, it seems to be a heavyweight title fight as Davis and Tim going blow for blow. Tim trying to take the lead away. Davis not wanting anything of it. 50 to the 3rd, hanging tough off the top side of turn 4. Tim still using the bottom of the racetrack.
Tell you, man, I could watch this for another 12 laps.
Tim again rockets off the bottom of the speedway. Brandon Davis back to the top, side by side once again through turns 3 and 4. Off of turn 4, Davis will continue to lead, abusing that right rear quarter panel on the fence. Now Davis going to try to come down the racetrack. See if he can take Tim's line away. Tim says, nope, I'm still here. Back to the bottom in 3 and 4. Tim edges ahead. We'll see what they do off of turn 4.
And part of the reason that you see Brandon Davis do that, to go down lower on the track, is because they're coming up on lap traffic, and the cars that were ahead of them were all running on the top side. He was going to have to do something different to get through the lap traffic. And whatever it was for Brandon Davis was not working, because Jake Tim grabs the lead with 10 to go.
Tim grabs the lead, had to check up for the 8L Lyle Sadoff. So Davis, now he's the one with the clear view up on top of the racetrack, but Tim somehow snuck by Sadoff and made it work as he gets to the inside of the 92. Davis desperately trying to keep in touch with the 49.
Hoping that Tyler Grooms gives him a little bit of breathing room. He does, and there was no breathing room between Brandon Davis and the outside wall. He slapped it. Sparks flew up into the air as Jake Tim continues to roll the bottom of the track, and he is catching up with even tougher, stouter cars up in front of him. Tyler Davis, Dustin Brown putting on a show as Jake Tim leads Brandon Davis off of turn number 4. It's all Jake Tim. Now that he's gotten out in clean air, he is starting to check out over Brandon Davis.
Certainly don't want to take our eyes off of this battle for the lead as Tim continues to pull away for the 50 to the 3rd. Behind him, though, Tyler Davis still runs in the 3rd spot. How about the weekend for Gabe Hodges, a guy that switched to modified racing in the middle of the year? Hodges currently inside the top 4, running in front of the 20 of Rodney Sanders.
Nice run for the 7G of Gabe Hodges. Osman will go a lap down. Next car to go a lap down will be Tyler Worley in the 66. Pinches Jake Tim down enough, but he's got enough of an advantage over Brandon Davis, 1.6 seconds. He now can't afford to slow down, pick his line, and make sure he times these passes out with all of these lapped cars.
Yeah, Tim looks really, really comfortable here this evening behind the wheel of that 49 car, and he has all weekend. Again, when he showed up here on Thursday, the performance that he put down, I mean, really, realistically, he had the fastest race car that night. Kevin Stowe, the winner, but Tim just ran out of laps in a short 20-lap race that night.
Closing down on just a couple of laps left for Jake Tim. He got around Brandon Davis with 10 laps to go. Get the 2 to go sign up atop the Foley Equipment flag stand. Still a couple of more lapped cars that Jake Tim is going to have to navigate around. White flag out for the pilot of the 49. Off of turn 4, he's got 3/8 of a mile left between himself and a Nationals win. Jake Tim has come to Wheatland before on a couple of different occasions. He was here for the late models at the Spring Nationals. He has been here for the Lucas Oil late models Show Me 100. Well, tonight, show me the checkered flag. Jake Tim will win the USRA Nationals. Jake Tim will win over Brandon Davis. Gabe Hodges jumps up to 3rd. But Jake Tim, after trailing Brandon Davis for a majority of the race, makes the pass with 10 to go. Davis and Hodges, the rest of your podium. Tyler Davis, Rodney Sanders, Kylie Kath. Tyler Wolf, who started up front, comes home in 7th. Carlos Amata Jr. in 8th, and it's Nick Benninger and Al Haina